Hi, I'm Linda Pineacre, and we're going to be talking about ways spirit guides help you. So, welcome to my live event, and I'd sure appreciate it if everybody could say hi and let me know where you're from. I guess I first of all should let you know a bit about spirit guides. They support and guide us, create opportunities, remove obstacles, but they'll never do anything to interfere with your life lessons. So, I know that can be kind of disappointing, but they know better. Our spirit guides, most of our spirit guides are from other incarnations we've had from past lives. Our master guide has never had a life on this plane. He or she just assumes a human appearance so we can relate to them. Like my master guide, Shabi Maha, is an African. And your master guide's with you for all of your lives and in between all of your lives. Whereas your spirit guides are with you for a specific purpose. And if you change what you're working on, then and you don't require them for whatever purpose they've been assigned you for, they will move on and others will come in. So your spirit guides do change. I have one spirit guide that's one of my favorites. She's a personal shopper. And the first time she ever came to me, I was in a parking lot and she pointed to a building and said she wanted me to go there. And she took me inside and directed me to a beautiful top that I said, well, I've got to try it on. She says, no. She says, it fits you. Buy it. Well, it fit me perfectly. And I wore it for years. I had a beautiful butterfly insignia on it done with beads. And she's been with me for, gee, I don't know, must be 17 years right now. And she's just excellent at helping me get things on sale. One time I went into a bookstore and she sent me to a certain shelf and there was a book sticking out. It's the only one sticking out, and that was a book that she wanted me to get, and it had wonderful information in it that I really needed. Um, she'll put a piece of clothing aside for me if there's only one left. I know one time I went to Sears and she had this article of clothing put in the back room, and it was the only one they had left that was in my size and was the right color. And sometimes she'll have someone bring information to me that I need. I was in a Sumie Japanese brush painting class once, and I heard one of the women yell across the room to another woman just before the class started about a sale. And I just happened to need pants, and it was a sale where all the pants were priced at 40% off. So, now, needless to say, that's where I went after the art class. Your spirit guides will help to bring the things to you that you need, and they'll help you to get items on sale. All you need to do is just sort of pay attention and be there. They'll help you with all kinds of electronic stuff too, which never ceases to amaze me. When I first moved into this cottage, I had a huge desk, and I must have climbed under the desk, I don't know, 7 or 8 times to put the printer cable up on top of the desk, and then by the time I climbed out, it had always fallen off before had a chance to attach it. And one day I thought, when I'm doing this, I thought, wow, like, why don't I ask for help? So I said, Shabimaha, would you please help me to attach this printer cable? So I climbed under the desk, I put the printer cable on top of the desk, and when I climbed back up, there it was sitting there, and I attached it. Of course, since then, people have told me another way to do it is just use masking tape and tape it to the top of the desk. But I didn't know about that at the time. The other thing he helped me with is I had a fax machine that would repeatedly jam. It was all I could do to send through a 1 or 2 page fax. And I was in a position where I needed to send through a 28-page fax. And, you know, 2 pages would take me 8 or 9 attempts. So I thought, how am I ever going to get 28 pages through? So I asked Shabimaha to help me. And it went through in one try. So I was really pleased about that. They want us to ask for help. When I first moved in here, I used a pickaxe to dig a bunch of holes and plant a bunch of shrubs and trees and perennials. And I really struggled with this one particular. I wanted to plant a lavateria, and the rock was so huge that no matter what I did with the pickaxe and a pull pry bar, I could not get that rock out of there. And I was just absolutely exhausted. I tried it for hours, and it was hot. So the next day, I thought I'd come when I was more rested. I still couldn't get it out of there. I ended up having to have my sister and her husband help me. And then when I went to plant the last 2 bushes, they went in so easy that I said to Shabimaha, I said, what the heck was that all about? He said, we want you to learn to ask for help. That really made a difference for me. I mean, your spirit guides will help you without you asking, but they'll do much more for you if you do ask. Another time I was in San Diego and I was going to a class at a location I'd never been to before down in Old Town. And no matter how many times I went up and down the block driving, I couldn't find it. I finally got out, walked, asked people for directions. Nobody knew which building it was. I knew it was on that block, but I didn't know which building it was. I finally got back in the car and was driving down another block, and I said, Shabimaha, could you please help me to find this event space before I end up being late for the class I'm teaching? He said, drive to the stop sign, turn right at the next stop sign, and about 3/4 way down, it's the tall building on the left-hand side. And sure enough, that was the right building. There was no name on the building, there was no address number on the building. I never would have known without his help. So I made it on time for the class. It was a bit of a rush, but I made it on time. So, can everybody say hi and let me know where you're from? And I'll keep an eye open for you. They will also help you to find information. They'll bring people to you that have the information that you need. Or, for example, they often give me search terms when I'm looking for something on the computer, or if I'm looking for a photo that I want for one of my newsletters. They'll give me the search term, and then when I put it in, sure enough, right away I find exactly what I need. They sometimes it's kind of confusing because, you know, Shabimaha will send me someplace, and when I get there they don't have what I wanted, but they will indirectly lead you to what you need to find out. For example, when I was in Los Angeles, my office chair had fallen apart, and I needed, like Shabimaha showed me a vision of what I needed. But then I needed a specific size of a nut and bolt to be able to fit, and it had to be like only this long. So he sent me to Home Depot, but when I got there, they didn't have what I needed. So I was a little surprised by that, but there was a young guy standing in the row there working in Home Depot, so I asked him about it, and he told me about a small local hardware store just around the corner that I'd never heard of. And when I went there, they had exactly what I needed, and I was able to repair my chair instead of replacing it. So I was tickled pink about that. When I moved into this place, it's a little cottage in the woods, my spirit guides told me that I was going to build a Japanese garden. And I did do that, but then they told me I was going to have a water feature. And Shabimaha told me that I should go to Thrifties and get a Buy Sell Trade magazine. So when I picked up the magazine, I noticed that the front page, half of it was an ad for, it was a particular rock place. I can't think of the name of it right now, but it's just up the highway about half an hour. And so I went there, and at that time they weren't selling water features. So I said, Shabimaha, what'd you bring me here for? They don't even sell water features. And he says, ask the guy over there. So I walked over to the man standing in the parking lot and told him I wanted to build a water feature. And he told me exactly where to go. He said, go to Duncan. He said, go to the Pet Zone store, get yourself a large sheet, pickaxe yourself a big hole, lay out the rubber sheet, and stack some shale in the middle. And he showed me where some really nice stacked shale was. Shabimaha picked some out that was teal. It was a perfect color, just what I wanted. And the guy also told me to go to Pet Zone and get a spitter. And I got this beautiful little cherub that was the exact same color as the teal shale. And so anyway, I brought it home. And oh, just before I left, I said to the man, I said, so will I be able to get this, you know, shale out of the trunk of my car? He said, are you kidding? He said, you won't even be able to move it. So I thought, well, what am I going to do? Drive around for the rest of my life with the shale in the trunk? But when I drive home, there's my landlord standing there with a guy that mills lumber. The two of them are talking, and they helped me carry my shale to my little water garden. They took it right there for me. It had to be planned. And what are the chances they'd be standing there in my driveway? The guy from Milling Wood had never been there before. I was really tickled pink with that. Another way they bring me information is they will have me get a book and show me what page it's on. So one time I saw this beautiful bird on my water feature. He was drinking and bathing, and he looked like an oriole. He was all yellow and black, but he had a scarlet head, and I'd never seen a bird like that before. He was about the size of a robin. And so I went upstairs and got my birds bag, bird book that you can look up birds and identify them. And I held it like this, and I said to Shabima, I said, will you please show me what page this bird is on? And the book just all of a sudden smacked shut in my hands, and there on the back cover was a picture of Western Tanager, the exact same color as the bird that was at the water feature. So I knew what it was, and then the next day he came back with his mate, so that was even extra special. They helped my sister Karen get the dog that she wanted. It's really hard to get small rescue dogs on Vancouver Island. There's so few of them. And she'd been looking in the SPCA, one of the locations that was 3 hours away. And they had a dog there that looked an awful lot like the dog she had before, except a different color. But they didn't know what the breed was. And Karen really wanted a Dandy Dinmont Terrier, because that's what her previous dog was. It was such a nice temperament. Anyway, that evening, I turned on the television, a dog show was on, and my dog started barking, so I changed the channel and watched something else that was recorded. And then when it was over, darn it, the channel didn't go back to the dog show. And one of her spirit guides had made that happen. And right across the screen, I saw in large print, Dandy Dinmont Terrier. And I knew that was the way of letting us know that the dog that she saw at the SPCA was the dog that she wanted. And so we drove to the SPCA as soon as it opened Monday morning, 3-hour drive. We made sure we were there just as it opened. And there was a mom and a son right beside us. They wanted a dog too. We get up at the counter and Karen says, you know, I want to see Molly. That's what the name of the dog was. And it turned out that one of her spirit guides, Stephen, the same one that put the TV channel on the dog show, had them put the dog in an office so it would be held for her. So she was able to go right in there and get Molly. And yes, it was a Dandy Dinmont Terrier. And she had that dog for many years. Was very well loved, and it was such a lovely dog. I'm sure you've got some ways that spirit guides have helped you, so maybe you can send them to me so I can tell people about them. And I see that Karen from Cowichan Bay, my sister, has joined us. She says, my Molly. I don't know if you know, but I'm an author. I've written several books, and then 3 of them are published. And quite often my spirit guides will give me ideas or help me to find the right words to say. So, you know, once you're more connected with your spirit guides, things will flow a lot more easily for you. They had me take a watercolor painting class, and one of my spirit guides would come and help me to mix colors. She would tell me which colors she wanted me to mix together. And she used to spend an awful lot of time getting me to mix lots and lots of colors. I swear that one of the evergreen trees that she had me paint, she must have me mix over 200 combinations. And so I asked her about it, and she said, well, you know, some spirit guides just channel the general painting and some of the nuances they want. But she said, I'm channeling details to you because I want you to learn to be able to pick up details so that you'll be able to give more specific readings to people and help them when you connect with their loved ones in spirit and give more specific information. So she really helped me with that. And the one that does the personal shopping, she also helped me design jewelry. Never made jewelry in my life. And she told me I was going to, and I just thought that was hilarious. But before I'd go to the jewelry store, I would meditate for a little while, and she'd pass on all kinds of ideas to me, even though I wasn't always aware of those ideas. And then I'd go in the bead store and be able to pick out all kinds of beads. And I went so many times, and she came with me so many times that some of the clerks even started to channel her. And they'd say, well, she says she wants to get 24 of these. And I'd check, and sure enough, she wanted me to have 24 of those. And I made over 400 jewelry sets, like with the necklace and the earrings. And I made these little cards that said Designs by Linda. And one day, someone was buying my jewelry at one of my classes in San Diego. And I heard Auntie Lily say, these should say Designs by Lily instead of Designs by Linda. Because she channeled those necklaces and earrings to me bead by bead. I didn't have to use my creativity at all, because again, it was just like going to school and getting lots and lots of practice channeling specific colors and sizes. And sometimes I'd phone my twin sister who was up in Prince George, and I'd ask her what color I was supposed to be looking at, and she'd say, I think you're supposed to get some that look almost gray smoky and they are all shiny like fire roasted. And sure enough, that'd be what I needed. So she got practice too. We had a lot of fun together doing that. They will also help you to keep things safe. I've had a problem with my sandwich board sign up at the end of the driveway. It's a fairly busy, it's almost like a highway, you know, not a main highway, but a small highway. I've had a lot of problem with vandalism for quite a while when I first moved here. And finally what I did was I asked my spirit guides to keep the sign safe for me because it was just too expensive to replace and very troublesome. Like sometimes I'd have to drive many, many miles to go get it because they take it somewhere and drop it off somewhere. And I haven't had any problems with my sign being vandalized now for several years. So that's been great. Every time I drive down the driveway, I say, thank you, thank you, thank you for keeping my sign safe. Because I know that gratitude helps manifest things. And it's working. The other thing that they did for me is I have a little white dog. You might have seen her walk by a little while ago. And she used to just walk around my niece's paddocks around the horses, and she wasn't afraid of the horses. So I asked Shabimaha if he would please have one of the horses scare her so she wouldn't be, you know, so she'd be a little more cautious, right? And so he had a horse charge her but not do anything, just enough to scare her, and I never had to worry about her again after that. I was really grateful. Hi, Bev. Nice to see you. I don't know where you're from, but welcome. Your spirit guides may share information with you in advance to help you find things that you want or need. My master guide had showed me a cherry wood desk once, and it was a very expensive desk. There's no way I was going to buy it, but it was just to give me a hint about what kind of desk I was going to get when I bought one. And so when I moved to Victoria on the island here, my twin sister had noticed that there was a desk for sale in one of the used magazines, and it said it was actually, it had the wrong color. I don't remember what it said, but it was the wrong one. But anyway, we went to see it. It was just like the one that Shabimaha had pointed out to me, and I got it for only $40. It's just a lovely desk. They will help me to learn about world events they think are important for me. I don't watch the news, listen to the news, read about the news. I just find there's just too many upsetting events. And if my spirit guides think it's important for me to know about an event, they will draw my attention to it and either bring the information to me or else have it show up on the television without me turning to that channel. Bev's from Port McNeill, north of me. That's quite a ways north of me. Hi, Bev. And hi, Teresa. Thanks for joining. I think one of my funniest stories about spirit guides helping me was when I was in San Diego, and my husband at the time and I had gone up to the checkouts, and there was two long lineups side by side at the checkouts. So we decided we would each stand in one lineup and see whose lineup went first. And after a while of waiting and waiting, I finally said, how about we make this interesting? Let's see whose master guide can get, you know, one of our lineups to move the most, you know, the quickest. And so he said, sure, what the heck. All of a sudden, 3 people in front of me in the lineup left. They just left the lineup. I guess they remembered something they'd forgotten or changed their mind. I don't know. They just walked away. So we thought that was pretty humorous. And it turned out that the man behind my husband was listening to us, and so he was even laughing. He had a good sense of humor about it. You never know who's going to believe in spirit guides, but obviously he did. They'll also help you if you can't find your way on the highway, or anywhere else for that matter. I quite often went to Monrovia, which is, it's like LA, and I lived in San Diego, so it was a 2-hour drive. And every single time I went, I missed the exit. There were several exits that ran together, so you'd be going up the highway and you'd decide which lane you needed to be in, and it never made sense to me. I always ended up taking the wrong one and driving around some neighborhood I'd never been to before, some industrial place, and then driving back on the highway. Anyway, one of the times, one of my spirit guides, Alphonse, who was my biological father, I had no relationship with him really until he became one of my spirit guides. and then I became very close to him. I used to chat with him up and down the highway every time I went to LA. But anyway, he had a little car just cut right in front of me on the highway. And when I looked, its license plate said, "Happiness is living in Monrovia." I thought, aha, a car for me to follow. So I followed that car right up into the right exit, and all of a sudden, I am not kidding you, it literally vanished. He never drove in one way or, you know, in any direction to get off the road. He just vanished. So I knew that Alphonse had just manifested that for me, so I'd be able to find my way to Monrovia. And I got there in no time at all, so that was great. They quite often bring insects or animals to bring me messages. I guess, you know, some people think that the guide is actually that animal, but they're not. They're really just, they bring them to get your attention so that you can be quiet long enough to get the message. And it's usually whatever your first impression is. But anyway, one day I had my door open so my dog can go in. Now it was a beautiful summer's day. And a dragonfly came into the house. And I was standing right here in the middle of the living room. The dragonfly came right up to my eyes and said, "It's time to meditate," and turned around and threw right out the door again. You kind of have to take those kind of messages seriously. And yes, I could have second guessed and I could have thought, what? You know, that's ridiculous. But I've been doing this long enough now that I know that you really need to trust your first impression. Whatever pops in your mind first is usually what the message is. And if you're not sure, you can always ask your spirit guides to bring you a sign to validate it. You can say, you know, did you say blah, blah, blah? And if you did, please bring me a hummingbird. And if a hummingbird shows up, you know you got the message right. Hi, Laura. Nice to see you. So let me see what time. It's 6:20. Does anybody have any stories that they want to share or any questions you want to ask? Because now's your time. I've pretty much covered everything that I planned to in terms of ways to that ways spirit guides help you. So unless you have some other ones that you wanted to mention that you might find entertaining or interesting, it means I'll be wrapping up. Laura says, hey, with lots of love. Oh, I love the hearts I'm getting. Thank you, everybody. That's lovely. Okay, well, if you're interested in getting to know your spirit guides, I do provide classes. And my classes are very small. I never have more than 6 people in them now. If you prefer to meet with me for a private session, I'm available for that too. And I can do the private sessions either in person or online through Skype or Zoom. Can they help you prosper financially? Well, Doreen's asking that. Doreen, that depends. If one of your life lessons is for you to struggle financially, then that's what you're going to end up doing for a while, because there's something you're supposed to gain out of that. It might be compassion for others who are also struggling. It might be helping you discover how you can manifest money. But typically, we kind of need to manifest it ourselves, but they will help you know what your right career direction is. They will, like I said, they'll create opportunities for you and remove obstacles so that you can get onto your path and do whatever it is that would help you to prosper financially. And they can also help to bring you information so that you'll know what you need to do next. You know, you can ask them for signs. You can ask them what your next step is and just trust what you get. Thanks, Teresa. She's just saying that she missed the beginning, so she's going to watch the replay. And she's, yeah, yes to the classes. Thanks, Teresa. Okay, so my next event is Moving Energy to Create Change. And I think that's a timely topic to cover. The fall is typically a time of change. It's a universal time of change. I quite often find when I'm giving readings that changes either show up as happening in the spring or showing up in the fall. So we'll cover that, and it'll be on October 17th, which is a Wednesday. And again, it'll be at 6 o'clock p.m. Pacific time. And you may ask questions below. And I'd love it if you'd offer ideas for some future live events. What would you like to talk about? Because I'll certainly be willing to cover it for you if it looks like it would be interesting to other people too. So this event, Moving Energy to Create Change, just like this one, it's free, and it's on my business page on Facebook, which is at www.facebook.com/Linda Pineacre Spirit Communications. Thank you, everybody, for coming. And Doreen is saying thank you to me. You're welcome. Love to all of you. Thank you. Bye.